So I came out here to sit in nature for a little bit because I got so pissed off this morning. I was trying to do something with posting a video on YouTube, but I guess I was just not paying attention to how long it was taking, and it ended up being like 15 minutes and 53 seconds. So as a result, I couldn't post it. And I knew that you could post videos that were over 15 minutes if you were verified. And I knew I had gone through all that verification stuff back when I was doing all those videos about Charlottesville. But for some reason, it would not let me post it. And so then I thought, well, maybe I can't post it from my phone, maybe I can post it from my computer. So I got out my laptop and started rooting around in there. And I don't know what it is about once you get started on doing something on your computer, some little thing that you thought was just going to take a few minutes ends up taking an hour. And so I had an appointment I had to get to, and so I was trying to get this thing done before I went, but I didn't get it done, and I was almost late to the appointment. And so I don't know, I just, maybe I wasn't supposed to post that video. Maybe there was something that I was talking about that was too revealing about myself, or I don't know what. But what I want to say is that I started making YouTube videos. I guess it was around the time that I had my heart surgery, which was in 2010, and I had to have my aortic valve replaced. And the reason is because I was born with a defective valve. It was a bicuspid instead of a tricuspid, and apparently it ends up getting calcified. They call it stenosis. So I always had a heart murmur, and because I didn't have good health insurance after I left Kodak, I kind of just I went to the free clinic, or I just I don't know, hardly ever saw any doctors. And so then I got to the point where I had gone to one of those walk-in clinics because I had a sinus infection. And the doctor that listened to my heart, she said, wow, your heart murmur is really loud. And I said, yeah, I know what it is. I'd had an echocardiogram, and I knew, it was bicuspid aortic valve. And she said, no, I'm telling you, it's really loud. And then she told me the story about this guy that was sort of in the same situation as me, and he ended up dying. And so I'm like, oh, well, maybe I ought to do something about this. So she offered me a referral to see a cardiologist over at the UVA hospital. And so I went over there, and this is kind of funny. I went through this financial screening, which worked out to my advantage because I'm one of these people that I refer to myself as a fringe dweller. I'm always just living on the edges of I don't know, whatever society or culture I live in or whatever. It's like I'm not a joiner, and I'm not, I had a really good job, and then I decided it wasn't a good fit for me. And those were my Kodak days. So when I basically just jumped off the cliff there and became a free a hairdresser, and you really don't make a ton of money when you're doing that, but it's a lot of fun, and you meet a lot of people, and it's pretty hard work sometimes, but it has really good rewards, and you meet a lot of nice people, and you network with a lot of people, and stuff like that. Anyway, I get to, see this cardiologist. And so I had another echo done. And he said, well, we're going to have to replace that valve. And I said, well, what would happen if I wait 6 months? And he said, well, your heart now is working so hard to get the blood pumped through this very tight valve, and it will probably just get so stressed of trying to work so hard that it will just stop and you'll die of sudden cardiac arrest. And so I thought, okay. So I said to him, well, I don't have any health insurance. What am I going to do? And he was just really neat. He was African, and I can't remember his name now, but he was as black gets, and just really a great guy. Very nice demeanor, gentle personality, all that kind of stuff. And so he looked at me and he said, "Look, you live in America. We're not going to let you die." I said, "Oh, okay." So then I actually had the name of a surgeon that I wanted to do it. I found out from a client of mine who was a cardiologist. This Dr. John Kern. He's like one of the best valve guys, on the East Coast. So I said to this doctor, can I request a particular surgeon? And he said, well, who you got in mind? And I said, Dr. Kern. And he said, oh, Dr. Kern. Yeah, he's real good. Yeah, you can. We'll set up an appointment with you for that. So I end up going down to financial screening, and I filled out the paperwork and proved to them how poor I was and everything. And so then after the woman went through all my paperwork and plugged in all the numbers in her computer and everything, she said that I qualified for 0 copay. And I said, what? She said, yeah, you don't have to pay anything. So I broke down and started crying. I was like, oh my God, I can't. It's like there's some reason why I need to stay alive. So my dad had just moved down here the year before, and he was still doing pretty good. He was still driving and everything. So I get home and I call him up and I said, Dad, I got to come over and tell you something. So I said, I can't tell you on the phone. So I come over and I sit down with him and I said, they're going to have to replace my valve in my heart, open heart surgery. And he I mean, I already told you guys, he's such a strong person of faith and everything. Not like he's religious, but he's just he always knew the hand of God was on his shoulder, guiding him along and everything. So he actually really liked to watch Joel Osteen on TV, and he was always saying stuff like, God has a plan for you, and all this kind of stuff. So Dad, we're sitting across from each other, kind of knee to knee, looking in each other's eyes and stuff, and he grabs my hands and he says, God has a plan for you. And I'm like, I guess so, I don't know what it is yet, but I guess I'm going to go along with this. So to make a long story short, I 3 weeks later, I got the valve replaced, and it was like being hit with a Mack truck. I mean, I'd never had surgery before, and to have your first surgery be open heart surgery, it was really something. But if you could say it was a come to Jesus moment, that's pretty much what it was. And I was living with the sociopath at the time, Steve, and so when he thought he was going to lose me, he kind of rallied, and his heart softened, and he got nicer, and he actually took care of me and made meals for me, and helped me recover and all that kind of stuff. But then 6 months later, when I was feeling better, it was like, all right, well, you can go out and do your gardening that you have to do, and cook the meals that I need cooked for me, and it's like, oh my, okay, whatever. So I don't do well as a domestic servant, just so it wasn't. Let's see, that was 2010. So he actually broke up with me in 2012. So for me, 2012 was actually, a real transitional year. And he did me a favor. I couldn't make the choice to be the one to break up. And so, I wasn't taking care of all of my domestic duties like, he expected. So he said, well, I think you should get your own place. So within, I think probably about 6 weeks, I was out. I had moved out and never looked back. And he tried to put me on a leash and, like become like, a sexual servant or whatever, and but it's like, are you kidding me? No way. It's like, so I had to basically call him every name in the book to get him to stop calling me and get him away and all that stuff. But it's really funny, the twists and turns your life makes, all the different phases you go through. So anyway, that's all the story I'm going to tell right now.